As a business owner, you can go out and buy anyone's labor. What you can't buy is their heart, their passion. And there's not very many businesses that can take their company from A to B without having difference makers.
What they're going to get from you, aside from a superintendent, is awesome beliefs on how to make themselves more successful internally.
You know, the one or two key employees that we helped them find 10 years ago are still there, and they built a tremendous company.
Hey everybody, welcome to our latest episode of The Real MF'ers. I'm super excited today to introduce you guys to someone who I've become fast friends with, or refer to each other as brothers from another mother even. But this is Bob Magnan. He is the CEO and president of Delta Construction Partners. I'm excited specifically to hear from Bob today too, because he's bringing a whole different spin to the construction world from the other side, how to find good talent and retain good talent. He runs an amazing business himself, one that I admire and respect from just seeing him in the brief time that we've known each other. And I'm really excited to bring what he offers and what he's built to you guys, and you guys to hear what he does in his business and how he can help you too. So Bob, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Scott. It's an honor. I appreciate you having me on your show here.
Do you mind, just for the audience, kind of taking maybe a couple minutes, just walk them through high level who you are, where you're from, how you started Delta, what Delta is?
Yeah, sure thing. I started Delta in 2007. It was perfect timing. You know, the worst construction recession in the history of the world. It's probably not the most perfect time to start a construction recruiting business, but somehow we endured, even though my timing wasn't the best. The first couple of years were tough. Sat in a small office by myself and, really just tried to develop a niche and an expertise in the electrical sector. And so our first clients were electrical subcontractors all over the country that basically did commercial work. And we went with that niche for the first 10, 13 years of our company. And in that time, we proved to be the nation's largest, most specialized, focused, permanent placement recruiting agency that really focused on, finding and hiring, onboarding superintendents, project managers, estimators, designers, engineers, any of the basic management positions. What we did not focus on are the installation positions. So the guys that are actually doing all the hard work on the job site. So that's kind of the quick overall summary of where we started. And today, from starting in a small office, 200 square feet by myself, we now have about 35 great team members, and it's a very high energy, passionate, collaborative team culture, and we have a lot of fun every day.
Yeah. So if I were to sum it up, if I'm the owner of a electrical contracting company and I'm growing and I'm looking for leadership talent and management in engineering or estimating or those real more anything outside of the labor position between me as the owner and the labor force, I could come to you and you could help me find and retain and hire that talent.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. And most subcontractors, they're experts at what they do. And as you know, the subcontracting business model is a very difficult business model. There's a lot of moving pieces. So traditionally, most electrical contractors don't have time to set up, an in-house recruiting department to go find those individuals and qualify them and onboard them that are real difference makers. And that's what most of our clients are looking for, at least from us. They're looking for somebody that could add a lot of value to their company, take their company to the next level. And those people are very difficult to find on job boards, like Indeed or ZipRecruiter or Monster. Those individuals that are usually listing their resumes on those job boards are people that are out of work, or usually their employment stability is fairly hoppy. So our clients call us in because we have the relationships. We have approximately 75,000 electrical construction and now mechanical construction, as well as general construction professionals in our database that we have relationships with. And we're able to go out and help them onboard, them for the great clients that we work for. So,
one thing I really want the audience to understand and hear, and I don't know if I really want them to take this away from what you just said, is I have a background in medical device history. I've worked in and around, multiple $100 million medical device companies that I was an employee of, one point a salesperson, a manager, and in different leadership roles. And we always in that business, literally for almost every position, whether it was sales or marketing, we would always use outside recruiting agencies, and it was part of our budget. And they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year hiring and finding talent. And the reason being is it's so expensive to make a mistake and train and educate and bring somebody on board to find out that they're not a good fit culturally or talent-wise. And so what I thought was so cool when I met you, Bob, is that you're bringing that huge resource to a subcontracting business that usually is only out there for what is otherwise hundreds of millions of $100 million companies or even $1 billion companies. But for you to have that expertise and bring that type of value to a smaller 5, 6, 10 million, 2 million, $1 million business or more is just a really important resource that I don't think enough people know is out there, and if they do, I don't think they really understand the value that it brings and the amount of savings and cost savings it can bring to their business by not making mistakes.
I mean, you're hitting the nail right on the head. Our clients expect us to make their lives easier, right? They're very complicated, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 7, 8 o'clock at night. Most of our clients, their hair is on fire all day long, dealing with general contractors or owners and the various, the labor issues they have all day long, design issues, material issues, getting paid. It's a very complex business model. So, our kind of motto is, we're going to make your life easier, Mr. Subcontractor. And it's very important to us that we succeed in that area. So when an owner of a company gives us an assignment, we understand exactly what they're looking for. I had the great fortune of working for maybe one of the, top electrical minds in the last, 50 years in our country, maybe even on the planet. And his name was Mitch Permy. And Mitch founded Power Design in 1989 and, grew it from the first set of plans on his kitchen table to now the company is in the $850 million a year revenue range, and growing to probably 1.2, 1.3 billion within the next 2 years. So, it'd be like, Scott, if you had, a chance to work for Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Just being around that energy and that creativity and that, that brain for a couple of years, you're gonna gain a lot of experience. So, and knowledge. And so I had the really good fortune of starting off for 2 years working for Power Design, working directly with Mitch. And I kind of shadowed him for 3-4 hours, every day for 2 years. And that insight and experience is worth, millions to me, because I had a chance firsthand to see how a real leader of an electrical contractor thinks, right? And how they react to certain situations. So when I look at a resume now, I see things that I would never be able to see if I hadn't had that experience. And that gives us and our firm a huge competitive advantage. So it's proven on a daily basis to help us add a lot of value to our clients' lives as well.
Yeah. You could have been in the recruiting business and worked with all the medical device recruiters and separated yourself from the others and been just as successful. But you chose electrical contracting because you have a background in it. You understand it from an owner's perspective. You were trained by one of the highly educated, successful company electrical contractors that grew from smaller to 850 million. And I don't think you've shared this yet, but I happen to know that your dad was a master electrician in the Navy as well.
I always wanted to kind of, keep that, the family ties to, to the electrical business going, and my dad being a master electrician in the Navy, it just felt like the right thing to do from maybe a DNA standpoint. I was, very proud of my dad, so that was a feel-good type of relationship to what my new career was going to be all about. But besides that, and probably, as important, even maybe more important, was the fact that when I worked at Power Design, I had a chance to interact and on a daily basis, talk to project managers and superintendents and interact with them. And I just thought these guys were the salt of the earth kind of guys. And, I had some prior experiences in the brokerage business, and, the difference in personalities and integrity levels is significant. So I just love working with the construction guys, great family guys. I love performing for my clients, and it was just a lot of fun, and it's still fun today. It's not a job at all, and every day I come to work and just passionate about being the best construction and recruiting firm on the planet. And that's our vision.
One of the things that I personally focus a lot on in our business, and I think is super important, and really is the key separator between success and failure, is the culture that you have within your organization. And being passionate about that and speaking about that a lot, as much as I can, not only to my own organization, but just in the community and where I've learned. One of the things that I was drawn immediately to you, just upon walking into meeting you, but walking into your office and meeting your team and your group, is the culture you've created there is very clear and evident, and it's permeated throughout everybody. Can you please talk a little bit about that? Because that's not on accident, and clearly it's something you worked on and focused on, and you guys live and breathe every day. How did you learn that? Why did you implement it? And what have you seen beneficial from that? And how do you relate that over to your business?
It was all those classes I took in college. No, it had nothing to do with my college education. Actually, I don't remember going to classes. I played a lot of baseball in college, but very little class time. So I became a fan of Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and went through a couple seminars, a couple certifications, rounds of certifications to become a Covey teacher and the whole 9 yards. And what I really picked up from that experience was that you can as a business owner, you can go out and buy anyone's labor, their hands, their back, dig a ditch, whatever it is, you can go buy that, right? What you can't buy is their heart, their passion, right? And that's where the real magic comes from. When you have team members that are all very passionate about your company's cause, they understand what that cause is. They have a clear vision of your vision, and then they understand the exact role that they play and the responsibility they have in taking your company to that special place. It just becomes magical. And so that's one of the requirements to work at our company. If you're not passionate about helping people, if you're not passionate about helping our clients, if you're not super passionate about being part of a team that is going to be the best team on the planet at what we do, it's not a good fit for you. It's probably a place that's not going to work out for you in terms of employment. I would encourage you to seek employment elsewhere, because on a daily basis, we have a passion about getting better, both personally and professionally. So we're always challenging each other, and it's seamless. I mean, my team members challenge me on a daily basis. Bob, did you do your meditation this morning? Bob, did you get your run in this morning? Did you get your 20-minute sweat in this morning? Bob, did you do anything for somebody else today? So we have these, the criteria that we think make up what it takes to really be a highly effective professional and personal development type of character on a daily basis. And we stick to it, and it's a lot of fun.
I really appreciate you sharing that story. How do you relate your culture and what you've done in your business? How do you carry that over into the recruiting side when you're working on behalf of one of your customers?
we share a lot of the things that we do with our customers, such as, we kind of have a saying around our office, catch people doing things right and thank them, give them a pat on the back, versus a lot of companies, that we've all worked for, that manager that, hey, you did this wrong, or, you should have done this way. And I understand there's a need for that every now and then, but we like the culture of catching people doing things right and thank them. So to take off on that thinking and that thought, every Friday we have a lunch meeting, which we buy lunch for everybody, and usually they're nice. We have a nice lunch, and we go over the week's goals and how we did, and plan for the next week. But we also have what we call is a silver box, and the silver box is in our office, and all during the week in the silver box, we have team members that put anonymous little statements in there about other team members. And on Friday, we pass the box around. Everybody picks 2 slips of paper out of the box and reads them. And it would say something to the effect of, if I'm reading one of the slips of paper, it would say, Scott, thank you so much for, all your hard work this week, coming in early, staying late. You're a real difference maker, and everyone on the team appreciates it. And they're all, you don't know who it came from. So that's kind of cool. Because you try to figure that part out, it's like, I wonder who had said that nice thing about me. But it's just nice to get that kind of recognition, and we make it a habit. Every Friday we go through that silver box, and I looked at it before I came up here. There must be 100 anonymous, thank yous and in the box already for this Friday, and it's Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. So that shows me that my team is engaged, that they take that very seriously, and it's important to them. It's an important part of our culture.
And see, personally, I talk to construction contractors all the time, and I'm always talking to them about our business, because I want them to feel and understand that just because construction has certain connotations to it, or it's harder work, that the business is business, and your people are your people, and all of these concepts, actually the ones that are the most important to whether your success or is met the way you want it to or not, is all of these principles that we talk about. So even though your business is construction recruiting, and someone would hire you to help find them the next best superintendent they have for their job, what they're going to get from you, aside from a superintendent, is awesome beliefs on how to make themselves more successful internally. And those are the additional value points that I think are so key. Getting to what you actually talked about there, though, in your actual business, one thing I've heard a lot of subcontractors say to me is, oh man, I can't imagine using a recruiter. Because when I brought you up, or just the thought of a recruiter, they'll say something like, oh, those are too expensive. It's too expensive to hire a recruiter. And I was like, well, what's expensive? And the answer I'll get is, oh, they want X amount of thousands of dollar fee. And I'll say, well, how much does it cost for you if you hire somebody and they don't work out? And they're like, well, I just hire somebody else. And I'm not equipped as well as you are to answer that question, but I'm sure that dialogue is something you've probably had before. And I think we'd be remiss not to touch on that here today. So if I were to ask you, why is your fee valuable, and why should the people just run to you to pay it? I know what I would say and why I would do it, but what would you want a contractor to hear now, so while they're watching this, so they say, you know what, he's right, I need to just do this and save myself? Well,
the generally accepted facts about what it costs to replace an employee is somewhere around 75% of the person's first year's salary. So if you hire a guy at $100,000 and he only lasts 6 months, it's going to cost you approximately $75,000 to replace that person. And so what makes up that 75 grand cost are, the amount of time that your team has to put into training that person. You're talking about 50 to 100 hours for this, for the normal person just to be trained on systems, processes, culture, the whole 9 yards of software. So that's a big piece of it. And in some instances, it could be a lot more. So there's a hard cost to replacing somebody that you just can't get around. And then, most companies don't take into consideration that, they may be great contractors and they may have their area of specialty in terms of construction, but it's very difficult to do that and to be an effective recruiting operation as well. So most subcontractors have one or two people in-house, maybe somebody in HR. They're not proactively out there building relationships. They're actually just taking resumes in and hoping they're going to find somebody that works out. Usually their process of reviewing the resumes, doing background checks, bringing the person in for an interview is not that efficient and effective. So they're making a lot of mistakes on that end. And, we eliminate all that noise and all those processes. And again, our job, because our fees are expensive to a lot of clients as far as how they look at it, but for $25 or $35, $40,000, whatever the fee may be, we eliminate, the contractor having to go through any of that process. We make our contractors' lives easier. We only deliver, the best of the best candidates, because ultimately our job is to help that company go to the next level. And there's not very many businesses that can take their company from A to B without having difference makers, right? And those are 1 out of 100, employees that are out there in the pool. And it's our job to find that person. So I think we add a lot of value, and I think our track record, speaks for itself. We're entering our 14th year of business. We're still growing at about 15% a year, and we've actually doubled in size in the last 6 months. So if I seem a little frazzled right now, it's because we got a lot of action going on right now. So we're moving into an almost 10,000 square foot office in less than 4 weeks. So a lot of exciting things happening at Delta, and we're helping more clients now than ever.
That's awesome. One thing I want to share with everybody that I wasn't planning on, but it's so relevant. I've made personally so many mistakes, even here at mobilization funding, especially here, whether it's bringing in the wrong people, having the wrong people on the team, keeping them around too long. I can personally attest to you that the costs of making mistakes in hiring or keeping folks that aren't a good fit, not implementing your culture, or just keeping people around, has cost me personally probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, and even some personal relationships. I think it's also cost me opportunity cost of success, or especially early on, and nearly failure in many cases. Matter of fact, without some luck, I probably would have failed, not had the business, because I didn't have the right people around me, and I kept the wrong people around me too long. And if I could have shortened that gap, going back, if nobody takes anything else from this, if I could shrink the gap between where I am now and where we started by literally paying what would be about less than 1% of the cost of the money that I probably lost to you, right, Bob, to find me the right talent, where I could have stayed on top of a situation that wouldn't have become a problem because I didn't have to do all the things I was doing, or I didn't get intellectually lazy in my hiring process and just check for a pulse and say, oh, you sound good, let's do it. And we're in a great spot today. We have a great business. We have a great group. But where we're going to be in 3 years from now, I probably might even be right now, if I had this advice or watched what you told me and I took it to heart and implemented it. One of the things I really want you to talk about, when COVID hit, like yourself, we decided at Mobilization Funding, our team, that we were going to define ourselves in the most, looking back at COVID, and say this is one of the greatest times of our company's history. And what we did when that happened, doubling down on what we were going to do, how we were going to help people, integrating the business, really challenging ourselves, has made a huge difference for us. And we, like yourself, are in a great stretch right now and growing. And I think we're helping people better and doing things even better. And I know you are too. Why don't you talk about, just from a business perspective as an owner, what you did when COVID came about, how you used your human talent and your team, and where you guys are now. Tell them what you did, because I think it's pretty impressive.
Sure. Very specifically, when COVID happened, when COVID first came out, number one, as you pointed out earlier, we got lucky because construction was considered, exempt from, any shutdowns, basically. Now, there were some sites that were shut down in projects, but, we were able to stay in business, which a lot of companies did not have that good fortune, whether you're, hair salons or whatever. So we got lucky in that sense, and we're very grateful for that. But, I went through probably about a week of being really angry at our government, being pissed off and, throwing a pity party for myself. Why me? March was the best month in 2020 in the history of my company. And then to have COVID happen, I'm just like, this isn't funny, God, this is bad timing, I don't appreciate your sense of humor right now. So I did go through about a week or so of not probably responding in the most positive way. And then whether it was my wife or some divine intervention or my team members, I saw it a different way. And I said, let's get aggressive. Let's get proactive. We're going to go out and we're going to find 50 new clients. That's our plan. And so we expanded and sped up the process of opening up a few new divisions. So we have a general construction division now that's really kicking butt. We have a mechanical and manufacturing division that we picked up 16 new clients in the last 2 months. We have an engineering division that we picked up about 20 new clients in the past 3 months. And we're opening up probably the biggest division of them all. It's going to be our renewable energy division. So we did all that within the last 6 months, hired account managers for each division. Each division is making 2 or 3 placements, $75,000, $100,000 in revenue a month right now. And so it's messy because we're still in systems and processes and integration stages. But we're sticking to our core values, which basically is, continuously make our clients' lives easier, right? As long as we provide the best of the best of the best candidates to our clients or businesses like yourself, those leaders, those difference makers make your life easier, right? And that's really where, we get all of our repeat business from. There's really nowhere else our clients can go to get the level of service and the quality of the candidates that we deliver. So that's what we try to stay focused on, always delivering the best candidate possible for that search.
I have a couple quick questions for you before we wrap up that I was really interested in getting your kind of lightning round opinion on, so to speak. The first is there 1 or 2 things that when you're talking to an initial customer of yours or client of yours that you say, you know what, there's 1 or 2, 3 things here that really I can tell determine success or failure in a client for their business?
I love working with clients that are pushing themselves, whether, no matter what area of their lives it may be or their business, right? So they're always committed to, building the best project and adding the most value to their clients' lives. And, of course, there's the fundamental, we want to be around people that like to have fun, people that, and clients that have a high level of honesty and integrity, companies that, want to hire, that are looking for a partner and not just a recruiting company to make a placement. So we go way beyond just making placements for our clients. We love working for clients that are really looking to become the best of the best at what they do.
Is there any size company, whether it's in revenue or maybe employee size, that you find are have a higher chance of success than others?
Well, we've helped a lot of companies, go from 10 million to 100 million over the last 10 years. And so that was always fun it's always fun to work with smaller companies because in the case of the company I just mentioned, we helped them find a general manager when they were very small. And that general manager turned out to be a superstar. And he helped them grow a couple new divisions. And they're in Chicago right now. They're the largest merit shop electrical contractor in Chicago. And they're probably going to do 125, 130 million this year. So that was a lot of fun to know that, the 1 or 2 key employees that we helped them find 10 years ago are still there, and they built a tremendous company.
What about the companies that are a couple $1 million? Do you see that you can benefit them in the same exact way, going from 1 or 2 to 10?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our fees is a little more challenging for, a very small electrical contractor or, any subcontractor or any company, if you're doing a couple $1 million in revenue. So I'm always offering, flexible terms and fees to make it right, to make it the right fit for that company. And sometimes it's a lot more fun working for a smaller company where you find a one person and it helps them double the size of their company in 2 or 3 years. So I get a lot of joy. I get a lot of, satisfaction from doing that. We help a lot of companies that do $1 billion a year in revenue. So anywhere from a couple million to, there's a few mechanical electrical contractors that do $4 or $5 billion a year in revenue.
Yeah.
And everybody in between.
You've shared a lot of insight and things that I can tell are important to you and I think are really valuable. Is there anything that you wish you heard early in your career that you'd go back and tell yourself right now that you know?
Yeah, just whether you're a mechanical, electrical, general contractor, one of the key, fundamental places, things that you want to have in place is just surround yourself with the best possible people. If you're the smartest guy in the room, that's probably not necessarily a good thing. So I like to surround myself with a lot of very smart people. And I wish I would have done that earlier in my career. I think my ego got in the way a lot, and that cost me a lot of time and money.
I hope you guys all heard that. Ego gets in the way. And as soon as you can park it, speaking for myself personally as well, as soon as you can park that ego is when you really see the success doors open up, for sure.
Well, I stay humble and grateful for what I have and appreciative of all the things I've got. Things go pretty well, and I think more clear.
I had another question for you, but I'm not going to ask it because there's nothing more important than what you just said, and that's the best way to end it here. Bob, I really, truly thank you and your whole team because I know it takes a lot to get this together, and I really thank you for taking the time to share your insights, your wisdom, and your guidance, and I hope everybody got a lot out of this. I certainly did myself. I just appreciate you all taking the time to listen to us today. And Bob, thank you very much for your time, your insights, sharing your team. Thank you for what you've done for me, and thank you for what you've done for the folks that I've referred to you already. I've got nothing but positive feedback from them, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Scott. I really appreciate it. And we got a big game 6 with the Lightning probably tomorrow night. So go Lightning, go Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'll see you around soon, Scott. Thanks again.
That's right. Go Lightning. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.